Welcome to my review of Choo. I did say in my last review I was going to review Sicily next for somebody that requested it, which I will do next, so sorry Sarah, I will. But this one's kind of been laying on my head for a while and I wanted to quickly do it, so I am. So yeah, this is Choo's first ever fragrance, you know, otherwise known as the brand that makes fabulous shoes for women, and maybe even men now, I'm not sure. But yeah, it's an eau de parfum. They've since released a few other versions of it. There's an eau de toilette now. There was a few limited edition ones, but I'm not sure that they were changed anyway. I think it was just the packaging. There was one with like a silver encasing in the glass, and they've now done, they actually have done a new flanker now, two, which I find really strange. They did Choo Exotic, which came out last year, which I actually want to try. I haven't tried it yet. I haven't tried any of the other ones. That's in a kind of red bottle, and it does sound really nice, but you never know until you smell it. And then, strangely enough, the beginning of this year, they've released Choo Exotic again, but with the label 2014, and it's a different colour. So sometimes I think, where is your creativity? Try and at least do something else. I don't know. I think when someone gets on a roll and something works, then just try and reincarnate it a million times because you think people are going to love it. I think just spend that time making something new. Sorry to whinge, but it's true. So yeah, I'm reviewing the eau de parfum one. This is the box of it. It's a crazy pink snake skin box. I wonder which snake had to die to make this box. Hopefully not too many. It's kind of embossed as well to give the feeling of snake skin. It makes me shudder a little bit, if I'm honest, but yeah, it says Choo on the front, eau de parfum, and mine's the 100ml, mine's the biggest one. It was actually an impulse buy for me. I smelt it on a couple of people and thought, that's really nice, I can smell it. It's quite strong, which is what draws me to things. And yeah, one day I saw it on offer and it was kind of a good price, so I just clicked and got it. And I actually haven't even worn this yet outside. I've worn it in the house, but not outside. But anyway, so yeah. Here's the bottle. I really like the bottle. I think it's quite cool. It's, I don't know, it's kind of like a grenade. It's actually designed around Murano glass. Everywhere I read about this fragrance, I read that it was designed around Murano glass, which I don't know too much about, but I've got a Pandora bracelet and I have a few Murano glass beads. I think it's some really expensive, it's like glass design. They put swirlies in it and stuff like that. But yeah, it's like a grenade and it's clear, but I'll show you it on my iPad actually, because you can't really tell unless you see it in person. Can you see that? It's kind of got, these bits are kind of greyed, I guess. I don't know, it's quite nice, and each of these bits is dented, so it is quite a complex, pretty bottle, I think. It says Choo there, and it's a box lid, like a dice. Die, not dice. Yeah, so I'll just go through the notes with you. Not too much going on in this one. It came out in 2011, did I say that already? And it's described as a chypre fruity, which I completely disagree with. A chypre perfume has a classic set of ingredients, not really any of which I can see in the notes listed here, so I don't know how that came about, but anyway. A chypre should have some kind of bergamot in the top. It should have labdanum in it, which is a really unusual note, which I'm not going to go into now, and then a kind of mossy base, and this doesn't have any of that that's listed, and it doesn't smell like a chypre anyway. But chypre is, you know, there's new modern takes on things all the time, so you never know. Anyway, so the notes. So the top notes are pear, mandarin, and green notes. Green notes could mean anything, literally. But smelling it, I'm going to say there's some kind of very, very light herb, but it's barely a whisper. I probably would even ignore that. It's just, I don't know, I wouldn't say it smells green at all. The heart note is only one thing, and it's orchid. Orchid's a bit of a strange one because apparently orchids don't smell of anything, so the orchid must be some sort of synthetically reproduced note that resembles what maybe an orchid smells like. when you smell it naturally, but they don't actually give off any scent when you try and distill them or anything like that, so, or extract the essential oil, sorry. So I don't know. I've smelled orchid in a few other things before, and it tends to be a very sweet, light smelling flower, almost ethereal, I guess, but yeah, I don't know, that's a bit of a funny one, that one. And then the base is patchouli, and the note that kind of holds this together and makes it quite interesting is toffee. So this is now, in modern day times that we are now, people are calling things like this a fruit patchouli. There's a lot of fragrances. Patchouli is being used a hell of a lot in commercial fragrances, along with a lot of fruits. It does usually work, it's a good combination. But I do want to say, you know, because I study perfumery, patchouli that I smell in mass-produced fragrances doesn't really actually smell like patchouli. It does a little bit, but patchouli is way much more complex and interesting and earthy and natural smelling than when you smell it in all of these things now that have patchouli. It's used so much, but in this, you know, it's a really good combination. Patchouli and toffee really do work well together. So I'll spray some wet. It's only been drying a little while actually on this hand, so we'll see. But this one is a bit of a monster when it comes to the spray. It's like a jet. I don't know if you can see it, but it sprays out like a cannon, which is making my iPad wet and smell nice. But yeah, it's probably why it smells quite strong, because you do get a whole load of liquid on you when you spray it, but that's fine, at least you can direct it properly. So yeah, on this hand. So yeah, as I just said, you know, the composition isn't extremely complicated, but you know, less is sometimes more in perfumery, I think. So yeah, so it's immediately, to me, kind of got this real sweet, fruity smoothness to it, but it's not candy sweet. Even though it's got toffee, the toffee doesn't pair up with the pear and the mandarin, and it doesn't make it candy sweet like a lot of fragrances are now as well. This smells a little bit more grown up, I'm going to say that. It smells a little bit more just peary. Pear is a really nice thing to have in a fragrance, and it smells more like pear than it does mandarin. It's not got the typical berries, or it's not got the typical strawberry or and things like that. It's pear, I don't think, is that common, and not when it smells this strong anyway. So imagine a kind of peary mandarin combination with this real pleasant underlying sweetness that isn't too candyish. I do think this smells, and it's not listed anywhere, but it smells a lot more woody than it should. And I don't mean woody as in pencil shaving woody. Sometimes woods give a real sharpness to a fragrance, and this has got that. There's something really sexy about it. It's kind of like, if you could put something into an age bracket, which I hate to do, it's like a grown-up version of a fruity floral with some toffee in. It's a little bit more sexy and womanly than, say, something like Britney Spears' Fantasy, which, although it's kind of fun and sexy, it's very cute. This isn't cute, sweet. It's done in a really good way. I really like it. I was kind of surprised by it. I thought it was, when I smelled it on someone, I thought it was just nice. I thought, what, you smell really cool. I've never smelled anything like that before. It's one of those ones that smells kind of familiar, but not. That doesn't help you at all with the way that it smells, but that's just how I feel about it. So it's the pear and stuff, yeah, as I said, it's kind of smoothly fruity here, mainly pear, but when it dries over here, the toffee comes out obviously because it's in the base, so you do have this kind of grown up toffee kind of smell, which I read in someone's review once, which I've stolen, but I agreed with it. So whoever that was, I can't remember your name, but it's like grown up toffee. Yeah, you've got the patchouli giving it a kind of earthiness, which is, you know, stopping it again from becoming that candy sweet fragrance. But I don't know, it's just really nice. it stays a really long time. It leaves quite a trail behind it. It's one of those ones that I can usually kind of smell when someone's been in a corridor before me. That's it. It's got that amount of strength. It is an eau de parfum at the end of the day, so it should do that. Yeah, and that's kind of all I can say. I always say that and then I start babbling on again, but not the easiest of ones to describe. I do, this is going to sound weird as well, but I don't know if any of you have smelled Calvin Klein's Euphoria, which I absolutely adore. This is like, this has a few nuances and tones of that, in the way that I talked about the woodiness of it before, where it does give it that kind of crisp sexiness. This is like if you took Calvin Klein's Euphoria and added a bit of toffee into it. That's the same feel. So I know Euphoria is quite a popular fragrance, so hopefully some of you know what I mean when I say that, but that's kind of what I feel like. Overall, it's like a more mature, fruity, chewly fragrance that is a little bit sexy. And that's it. That's my review of Jimmy Choo, Jimmy Choo, Jimmy Choo, Jimmy Choo. I'll speak to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye-bye.